To date, the UFC lightweight category is constantly replenished with young talent and hungry lions who want to get their hands on gold. The top 15 lightweight division has seen a slew of big names in the last year that will soon take over as the division's current elite and win our hearts. And among them, there's already one who has now come close to the top 5, Rafael Fiziev, a charismatic striker with a flamboyant style and looks like Ragnar from Vikings. Very soon, he will have to go into the cage against one of the most dangerous fighters in the lightweight category and arguably the hardest-hitting lightweight in the history of UFC, Justin Gaethje. On this occasion, we have prepared for you 5 of the brightest and most spectacular performances in Fiziev's career. With you, MMA Rockets. Let's go! 5th place, Marc Diakiese. Fiziev made his debut in the UFC in April 19 at the St. Petersburg tournament, but then lost to the Russian fighter Magomed Mustafayev in the first round. After that, he gathered his strength and closed an unfortunate defeat in a fight against a fighter with a 4-5 record in the organization. And now, Fiziev comes after one victory and does not cause such a big stir as during his debut, since his perfect record was ruined after the first fight. It was necessary to go out to a more serious opponent and show a spectacular performance in order to regain the trust of the fans. The UFC organized a fight for him with a good British striker, Marc Diakiese, at the UFC Fight Night 172 tournament. Marc was once a very promising fighter with a series of 3 good victories in the organization. But after 3 defeats, everyone forgot about him. The fighter won 2 more fights and approached the duel with Fiziev in good shape. The fight began with small blows. The fighters looked out for each other, circling around the octagon until Rafael made the first action. With a quick movement, he delivered a whipping kick to the liver, the echo of which scattered throughout the arena.
Looking very strong. Yeah, as we said on the way in, that's a heavy body kick.
After they went into a clinch, from where the Azerbaijani fighter transferred Diakiese and held for a minute, but without significant action. Then got up and boom! A hard kick clearly to the body, from which there was a rumble throughout the hall. The fighters continued to fight, but it was Fiziev who was always more successful. In the middle of the round, Marc tried to deliver a high kick, but his opponent dodged. But the blow went a little on a tangent. Remember this move.
Accurate. Nice body kick on the other side now.
Oh, look at that.
The second round was a little more competitive. Rafael continued to send kicks and combinations from his hands and also retreated from the line of the attack. Marc again threw a high kick, but this time he flew right over the head of the opponent, who dodged the blow like Neo from the movie The Matrix.
Basics. Never stray away from the basic things.
Oh, there he is. It's Neo from The Matrix again.
And a beautiful return.
By the end of the round, Marc woke up and began to work better with his hands. The third round began with an exchange. This round turned out to be the most active on the part of both fighters. Both hit perfectly, caught towards, combined attacks, and showed a beautiful fight. Diakiese showed himself well in the end and landed great shots, but this was clearly not enough to win. Rafael Fiziev won by unanimous decision. Both fighters received a $50,000 bonus for the fight of the night. Dana White later stated, "Yes, Fiziev looked amazing. What a fight. I mean, we have to pay respect to both fighters for this fight. Those punches that were thrown, oh my God." Yes, it was a great fight. Definitely, it was fight of the night.
27, 29-28, and 29-28. All for your winner by unanimous decision, Rafael Fiziev!
What a win.
4th place, Renato Moicano. Ragnar decently declared himself after the last fight, and 6 months later, he went for another victory. This time, the opponent was the Brazilian Renato Moicano, who came with 1 win after moving up to lightweight. Before that, he was a featherweight fighter, but after 2 losses in a row, he decided to change the category in order to avoid heavyweight races. At the same time, at one point he was ranked 5th in the weight class and had good prospects. And before entering the strongest league, he was the champion of the major Brazilian Jungle Fight League. Pretty strong opponent for Rafael. The fight began with a brief warm-up. A little later, both began to work in their act, mixing kicks with hand combinations. Fiziev showed excellent boxing skills, throwing punches at lightning speed. He was good at blocking, takedowns, and defending himself from punches. At the end of the round, the Viking exploded sharply and struck a combination. A blow to the liver, a right to the jaw, and a left side kick knocked Moicano down on the canvas like a rag doll. The referee stepped in and stopped the fight. The Brazilian was not happy with this outcome, but nothing can be changed. Spectacular win, first knockout in the UFC, and performance bonus of the night.
Sweep that you just saw Fiziev do.
Oh,
my goodness!
knocks out.
Third place, Bobby Green. After 3 victories in a row, Rafael came close to the top 15 and was only 1 victory short of getting into the list of contenders. As opponents, he was given a fighter who had once been in the top 10 but was going through hard times in his career. Robust veteran Bobby Green has dealt with the youngsters in the past few years and periodically lost by not the most fair decisions. Rafael was given a tough veteran with the skills to keep him at a good level in the UFC. Excellent boxing, good wrestling stamina, and a strong jaw. A good test for our hero. But before the face-to-face fight, he had to go through a tough battle with his own body. The weight race exhausted the fighter greatly. On the last kilogram of weight, the sweat ceased to stand out. Fiziev later admitted that he even thought about failing the weigh-in, if only not to ruin the body completely. But he mastered it and made the necessary weight. It's time for a fist fight. The first round was held under the control of Fiziev. From the first seconds, he began to circle around the octagon around the enemy. Perfected kicks to the body were audible even with a full arena. Later, he connected combinations from his hands and began to play for the audience, not hiding his delight from a good hit with his elbow clearly in the beard. And the moment with his pursuit of Bobby scattered into memes. The second round went at high speed. Rafael continued to throw kicks on all floors of the body and began to use hand combinations more. At one of the moments, he hit perfectly and pressed the enemy to the net, from where he began to work with the series but could not finish. By the end, he was tired and the American fighter began to take the initiative. But Fiziev continued to fight back. The third round began with a small exchange. Both fighters put all their strength into the final round and gave themselves completely. Green attacked perfectly with his hands and caught the enemy while exhausting him with his pressure. It was a great fight in the center of the octagon. Yes, with a dead stamina, Fiziev answered and continued to fight like a true Viking. As a result, he took the victory by unanimous decision, giving up only the final round. In the post-fight interview, he loudly called Diaz to fight in the style of the legendary interview.
Hezbollah, you think I will work what I do all my life in the UFC? If you want a money fight, you fight with me, bro.
Second place, Brad Riddell. Another spectacular fight for Fiziev. After the duel with Bobby and his 4 victories in a row, Fiziev was placed in the top 15 and received an opponent from the 12th line, Brad Riddell. He is a solid fighter with an excellent standing skill and a solid background in kickboxing, plus a teammate of Israel Adesanya and a friend of Volkanovski. But the situation was complicated by one unpleasant fact. Both trained at the Tiger Muay Thai gym and had a friendly relationship, trained together and learned from each other. But the fighting business is merciless and forced them to come together in a battle against each other in a rating battle. The bout took place at UFC on ESPN 31, where Jose Aldo defeated Rob Font via unanimous decision in the main event. Rafael approached in the status of a small favorite, but the fighters and experts understood that this was a tough fight. The first round was played in a reconnaissance manner with little action. Fiziev, in his own manner, circled the octagon, choosing the right moment to attack. At one point, he tried to hook the opponent with a roundhouse kick, but slipped quite a bit on the chin. This is the moment you should remember. Brad periodically exploded with blows and quickly reduced the distance, but our hero met them well. The second round was similar to the first. The fighters looked for the moment to attack and abruptly burst into the attack. Riddell managed to do this more often, but according to the statistics of strikes in this round, Rafael was in the lead. At the same time, during these 5 minutes, Brad had an unpleasant cut over his left eyebrow, but they decided to continue the fight. The final round has begun. Before the final, like real men, they hugged. Both methodically looked for each other's weaknesses and sharply reduced the distance to inflict damage. Both hit well, showed a good fight, but there can only be one winner. In the 3rd minute of the battle, Fiziev fired a clear roundhouse kick that flew right into the opponent's head. The blow did not knock him out, but the power was such that he signaled himself unable to continue the fight, and Arab Dean stopped the fight.
Happened so fast, it's hard to... Oh, he hurt him bad.
He's hurt.
That is it! Rafael Fiziev finishes Brad Riddell!
The 4th bonus in a row for such a bright fighter, and in a post-match interview, he called out an American actor Vince Vaughn to fight. After the fight, they took a joint photo, maintaining a good relationship. After a while, Fiziev found himself on the 11th line of the rating, and he was already aiming for the top 10. First place, Rafael dos Anjos. After another victory, Fiziev decided to raise the level of the opposition and its recognition. Under the gaze of the Azerbaijani Viking, he fell on the Brazilian veteran and former lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos. The fight was held under the unspoken slogan, "Fight for the title of the best Rafael in the UFC." It is worth paying tribute to the veteran because he did not refuse the fight with a top fighter. The fight was supposed to take place back in March 2022, but the fight was postponed twice due to problems from Fiziev. At first, it was problems with the American visa, because of which the fight was postponed 2 weeks in advance to the 272 numbered tournament in the co-main event. But the Azerbaijani fighter had health problems, and he was forced to withdraw from the fight due to the coronavirus. RDA then fought Moicano and won by a devastating unanimous decision, but the leadership of the organization was not going to leave such a bright fight like that and continued to organize the fight. The bout headlined UFC on ESPN 39 last July. Fiziev approached the fight in the status of a favorite, but there were people who bet on his opponent. After all, despite his age, he still had good skills to defeat a young opponent and a good physical shape even at his age. It's time for a face-to-face meeting. In the first round, both fighters worked well in the stance. RDA showed itself well in this aspect and even broke Fiziev's nose, but the advantage was still on the side of an experienced Thai boxer. The Azerbaijani fighter perfectly defended himself from takedown attempts and continued to smash the opponent in the standing position with combinations. In the second round, the situation has not changed. Viking was better in the stance and defended well against takedowns. Even he was able to transfer the enemy, but without control. The third round did not differ from the scenario of the others. There were lots of vicious clinches from the side of RDA, but all the takedown attempts were stopped, and the advantage on the leg was on the side of Fiziev. He aimed his flying knee and threatened his opponent with it. The fourth round went towards the Brazilian because here he finally managed to transfer Fiziev and kept him on the canvas for a minute and a half until the end of the round. 3-1 in rounds, Fiziev could have held out until the end of the fight and won by decision, but that's not his style. The final round began with an exchange. He landed a fake knee in a jump and landed a heavy left that knocked the Brazilian down and finished him off on the ground. The referee intervened and stopped the fight. It is noteworthy that in the last round, Dos Anjos fell to a knockout in 2008 in a fight against Jeremy Stevens. For 14 years, the jaw withstood the heaviest blows and misfired in the battle with Fiziev.
Knockout, Rafael Fiziev!
Oh, there's a good left from RDA. Now Fiziev.
Oh, big left gets him down, and that's it! My, how quickly that happened! Fifth round finish for Rafael Fiziev. He's moving.
At the moment, there is a big competition in lightweight, and first of all, a new generation is trying to get into the top 5, among which is our hero. That's all, friends. Like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. MMA Rocket was with you. Bye.